Good afternoon, folks. It's back to some more Chronicles of a Vampire Killer Hunter. Vampire Killer? Would that be a better title? Answers in chat. Vampire Hunter or Vampire Killer? And hey to Cassius for his being early for a change. And I'm going to actually turn the sound of my desktop on so that you guys can hear what I've done. So, Vampire Hunter gets a vote. Right, so last night we went through a blueprint macro library and explaining that and basically implementing a for each loop with a delay in it. And that will be available to patrons soon. And also we mucked about with the animations on the score, and I shall show you what we ended up with. Let me know that you guys can hear the sound on this. And so we now have the score with each of the different widgets with a delay in between and a nice sound effect coming in there as well. Okay, now we are going to try to further beautify and present as best we can there should be music in there as well, but maybe not on this particular one, I'm not sure. But anyway, we can look at that later. But what I just realised is we have the level complete, time taken, pickups collected, then we have our rating, but we don't have the level name. Now, isn't that a bit of an oversight? Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this one here. In fact, to tell you what, I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is duplicate this. Right, then we're going to move our spacer in here. Then we're going to duplicate our spacer. And then we're going to move this one in here. And this is going to turn into a variable. And it's going to become text level name. Right? So we're going to basically build up our level complete widget with the things we need in it, right? So basically this is the part that does our ratings, so we can move this along a bit. Okay, and we're passing in the score. Right? And we are actually, are we getting it? Apparently not. Right, okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get a level name. Okay, we might actually move this into I'll tell you what we're going to do here. We're going to move this into a function. Right, and we're going to return level name. Okay, and the output is going to be level name, and it's going to be a string. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get current level name. Then we're going to data table row, right, and that is going to go into there. Then we're going to get labels. Then we're going to break the struct level name, and then that is going to go in there. That can go, I'll drag that across a bit. Okay, and this brings it all into line. Okay. Drag that out a bit. Drag that back a little bit. Hide unconnected. And that should be us. Except for the fact that this is going to go in there. And that is going to go in there. Let me just check something here. Right, that's fine. I'm going to delete that. So we've got the right connections. I just thought there might be an underline. Hi Elmar, how are you today? It's fine Monday afternoon, I suppose. Well, it's afternoon here. In the UK it'll be 8 in the evening, I believe. So, yeah. Right. So what we could do here is we'll just have a play about with this, okay? And we might actually want to swap these over. We'll change this down to, let's say, 60, or probably even 48. Yeah, it'll be 8 PM in the UK. I'm good, Elmar, thank you for asking. We're just getting on with this. This isn't going to end up level complete, so I'm just going to delete that for now. We'll save that. Then we shall run again. Can you guys hear the clicking of the pickups? And then the thump when we actually pick up the actual thing. Okay, we obviously were rather foolish there because we didn't actually return . Right, I like that thumpy sound, right? I wanted it for another game. Right? And it was like, you know how that thumpy sound is like, It's in loads of trailers, the films and that, right? Where like they stamp a thing on the ground to say the name of the game or the name of the film or something like that. And I was forever searching for that thumpy sound. Right, so we actually need to call this in the event graph, right? So basically all we actually need to do is get text level name, then set text, right? Yeah, once you hear it, you'll hear it in like lots of trailers and stuff, you know, with the big booming man's voice, you know, doing the James Earl Jones type thing with the thumpy. Right, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to do something here with this. This return level name, we're going to change this to be pure, right? So that we don't need to use it as, you'll see that we don't need to put it to an exec pin. Right? And we should really just make this text. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We shall click on that, then we shall click here, and then our return node will change it to text so that it's done for us, right? Yeah, whatever, we know, right? And we'll just do it in there, and that kind of makes it easier. Right, and then obviously we'll just delete that because it's going to be easier to do that. Then we'll just go like that, and that can go in there. Save that. That's us done. So now, oh, it's never a complete stream without a few bots. Right, so if we press play, come on, you know you want to do it. To be quite honest, most of the sound effects are purely template, right? They're just something to give me a sound to check that things are working. These can all be updated. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that's looking good? Now, obviously, right, we're going to press play again. I'm going to show you something, okay? So, if we take our time, right? Ooh. Didn't, well, I'm taking my time here, that's fine. Right, and we'll let this one go down as well. Okay, so if that one goes down, there we go. We'll only get one. Okay. Now, the question now is, do we actually have a level complete? And do we put it where it is just now? And for all those, the way I do this, guys, right, is, I think I've mentioned this a few times, but it's worth mentioning again. That basically just keep trying to make it better and more engaging and more interesting, right? Now, this is strictly functional, okay? But at the end of the day, can you make it look better? Can you improve on what you've got? Well, thank you, Shay Frost. I've never seen the Vampire, I've never played Vampire the Masquerade. As I said, I don't want, this was actually based on a different game, right? And it isn't even really based on that. It was one of my Patreons was wanting help with something. Okay, thanks Cassie for popping by. Ta-ta for now. Tatty bye. Right, and basically it was Dark Deception. So he sent me a link to a video of Dark Deception. And basically I took a look at it for 2 minutes and went, well, that's not that hard. And basically this is the result. But I didn't study the game. I took the main points, right, of, okay, it's 3D Pac-Man, right, and it's a kind of scary sort of setting, and that's basically where I stopped. And it had a mini-map, right, but other than that, the way the mechanics work and all the rest of it, I didn't really look at that at all, because I don't want to end up making exactly the same game. What I wanted to do was make something, okay, similar as a base premise, but then make it my own thing. And this is how the UI has evolved as well, right? Because initially I didn't really have a setting for it. And then I came up with the idea, okay, Vampire Hunter. Right? And then basically it now looks like this. I'll show you from the start, okay? It's probably best to do that. I'm using this level 2 because it allows me to finish a level quickly. Right? But for those who haven't seen the game, this is basically the main menu. Right? So basically, you know, we've got all this stuff. Now this button here is something I'm going to have to put into the other game, into the high score, right, or the end level score, because you're going to need to get out of it. And we're certainly getting the bots today. And it doesn't seem to matter how many times I report them, they don't actually get removed. Anyway, right, so basically we now, if we press play, it's going to take a second because I think I reloaded it. right? And this is like the, let's say the, what do you call it? What am I going to call this? This is the intermediate, this is the level selection level, right? So you can walk about in here, right? And then if you walk up to a painting, then you're allowed to enter, right? But obviously levels are going to be some of them, like this is level 2 and it hasn't been unlocked yet, so you can't actually go into there. But yeah, so there's lots of little details if you actually look for them. Like this clock actually works, and it does tick. So if you're actually playing the game with headphones on or whatever, you'll hear this clock ticking. Right? Now, another idea I've got that I haven't implemented yet, and it won't take me long, is like, so the bookcase up here, as you unlock levels, like things will move, like this bookcase will get moved, or maybe you can push it, right? That would be an interesting one. Right, so you can push it and then it'll be an entrance to like another level or something, right? But then you basically can enter a level. Actually, that's quite a good idea, that. See that pushing the bookcase? I'm liking that. Right? So this is the level itself, and you start off without a mini-map, but this first pickup is a mini-map, right? And that basically shows you the map, where you've got to go, right? And there's a prototype trap, which will hit you and damage you. Right? And you can see that now there's a thing, right? You've got doors, etc. You can go through the doors, and the pickups work. So like if you pick stuff up, you go faster. It's not like really, it is significantly faster, and you can hear it when you're picking stuff up as you graduate faster, right? Because obviously the little clicks come closer together. But you will notice now that our actual life hasn't come back yet. Well, let's say that our life thing isn't actually updating. So let's fix that, shall we? Well, we're at it. Stakes. I know that it's been commented before that it looks like a bullet, but it's actually a stake, right? I know the shape. Once it was pointed out to me, it became really obvious. I made it in Blender, right? But once it was pointed out to me, I went, yeah, that looks exactly like a bullet, except it's a stake. If you turn it upside down and texture it with wood, right? But that wasn't my intention of making a bullet, but it just kind of ended up looking like a bullet. Anyway, it was just it was just a placeholder, something that was reasonably decent, but might not be the final cut, let's say. So what we'll do here is we shall go into our pawn, right, and we should have our widgets, and this is our reference to our widget damage. Now I've called that W, whereas I really should keep this In previous games, I basically call these W underscore to say it's a widget, but if they're under widgets, then it's fairly obvious. Yeah, well, apparently I'm really good at 3D modeling a bullet, right? Even when I'm not modeling a bullet, I'm really good at modeling a bullet. But I will have to say that it's probably the only thing I'm really good at in Blender, right? But I have got a sneaky surprise for you later, maybe, if you keep watching for the next month or two. Right, so anyway, we do have the functions for regaining the life, etc. Okay. Yeah, or alternatively, bullets are actually stakes, right? You know, you could flip it and say bullets are actually stakes with a metal texture, but they were, you know. So we're on Pawn Chronicles, right? And we want, where the yeah, right, okay. I was going to say where's the rest of it, but these are the things that relate to the end of the level. But what we actually want to do is check for our functions replenish health. Okay. And apparently we don't have that plugged in. Don't know why. Well, you can't argue with logic, Jay. You just can't. Right, so we've got replenish health. Okay, now what we want to do here is basically say if that right, if that equals that, right, we branch right, so if we're at full health, or if we have returned to full health, is what that means. We say ref damage and we basically say visibility what? Okay, right, it can do weird things if you try and change that in between. Right, set visibility, right, and we're basically hidden. Right. I don't really know what you mean. Yes, you've got to connect the nodes, right? Because basically what you're doing is, you can write in C++ as well, right? This visual scripting language is basically just C++ with quite a few things that aren't implemented, but it just gives you a visual way of programming, right? There are a few quirks to it, but for the most part, it's okay. Right, so what we can do is play game. You'll notice how fast that is now. I've loaded it up once. Right, we can play that. Right, so what we'll do is we'll get hit. Right. If I set replenish to be something stupid. Right, so what I want to do is find the references for this. So this is going to get fired. Replenish health. We actually don't want to do that. Right, I'm going to stop that for now. Right. And we're only going to do this when we take damage. Right. Set timer by function name. Right. And then basically when we hit full, we'll switch it back off again. Right. So we say replenish health, looping, and you get 1 health every 10 seconds. Okay, so we shall save that. And if we go back to replenish health, right, if this is full, then we clear timer by function name. Right, because we don't want to go up any more health. I'm glad I actually started on this, because this was a bit of a logic sync that wasn't really right at all. Not that I'd worked on it very hard. It was just basically get that graphic in there and give some indication of taking damage. So that's cool. Well, this is the rest of it for everything else. Right. Right, so right, so that's cool. And it should go away after 10 seconds. There you go. Okay. But you see, as is, the way I develop things, I'm not happy with that, right? I am not happy with that at all. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Now we may need to end up changing this. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because this is one of my other design principles. I try to get my games to do what the player would expect to happen, right? From playing previous games, etc., etc. Right? Now, there's a million ways I can do this, right? I still don't know what vignettes mean. I don't know how many times I've looked at it and I still don't understand what a vignette actually is. Right, so there's a few ways we could do this, but just, I'll tell you what we'll do. Now, this is going to, right, okay, we'll do it that way. Right, what we'll do is we'll do it in a timeline, right? Timeline, because we need a lerp, but this isn't going to work because it's in a... I don't know what that's supposed to be. K21 horror games. I don't know what Coley Gelson is either. Right. Yeah, well, exactly what I was going to do was kind of what you said, right? I was going to fade it out. But also what I need to do is I have to set the render opacity back to 1, right, at the end of what I do, because if they take damage again, I want it to be on the screen, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade it out, then I'm going to set the I'm going to fade it out, then I'm going to set it to hidden, and then I'm going to set the render opacity back to 1, okay? That's the plan. But we're going to have to, we can't do it in a function because timelines are not allowed. Yeah, kind of, it's just, it's a trope. It's kind of the way everybody expects it to work. Right, so basically what I'll do is I'll create a custom event here, somewhere. And I'll say fade blood, except I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to add a custom event. I always get one step ahead of myself there. And we're going to say fade blood. Now this is probably going to have to change at some point because if they take damage and I'm in the middle of doing this, then we need an interrupt. Right, but we're not going to worry too much about it to start with. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a timeline. Okay, and we'll just call it TEL fade blood. Okay, and we're basically going from 1 to 0. And we're actually going to be playing for start. Right? So we double click that. We add a float. We add a key. We set the key to 0. And then the value is going to be 1. Where'd it go? Did I delete that? Apparently not. Right, where'd it go? Right, that's okay actually. Right, we're going to do this over, let's say, 2 seconds. Right. And time is going to be 2. Value is going to be 0. And then we can do that thing again. And save that. Then we'll rename the track opacity. Okay. Go back to our event graph. Then we're going to get ref damage. Render opacity. We're going to set it. Then we do that on the update. We do that on the opacity. Save that. Then yes. No, it's when it hits, it's when it replenishes the health, right? When we replenish the health and the health hits full, right? We want to do it in here. Right, so we just basically say fade blood. Right, and when fade blood is complete, we do this, right, which basically sets it to hidden and then puts the opacity back to 1 so that the next time it's shown, it'll show, right? Now, we could actually, I'm going to cut this, and what we'll do is on completion we'll paste that in here, right? And that should get the job done. Okay, simple as that. So it's going to, blood's going to fade out over 2 seconds. Now what happens is, when you get hit, you take damage, the blood appears, okay? Then when you replenish health back to full, it's going to, the damage, the blood's going to disappear from the screen, okay? So you replenish health after 10 seconds, right? So you get 1 health back every 10 seconds. Now, as I said, this is just, again, this is kind of placeholder, but it's getting our code in place, ready to do something, right? So we've got our functions and stuff ready. So there we took a hit, okay? So blood's on the screen, and it should fade out. There we go. There you go. Pretty nice, I'd say. You guys like that? I actually like that. I thought that was actually pretty good. Right? Now, there's a problem. We're taking damage again, but it's not showing. Right? So I noticed that that was actually so we need to find the take damage because there's something going on. Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing works every time. First time. Right, you got to find out what is going on. Now, this is making it visible. Now, what I'm going to do here is this is setting the image blood. Right. This is setting the image blood thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our replenish health. And what we're actually going to do is go image, get image blood. Right, now the reason for this is because we were setting our actual whole widget to be invisible, right? Whereas when we take damage, we actually are only using the image of the blood. So it's actually this that we need to actually set to hidden and not the whole thing. Right? Which is fine. All good. All good. So we press play. Doo-doo, in here. In here. do need a loading screen now, I'd say. Right, so there's our damage. And there's our fade. Interesting. We're definitely taking damage because you heard them saying, ooh, doing the pain thing, right? But in the meantime, if you're enjoying the content, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to have a quick cigarette. It'll just be 2 minutes. Check out the description for links to my Discord. You're welcome to join, and ways to support the channel through my Patreon and my previous game on Steam. And even adding that just to your wish list helps me out. And I shall be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back and let's find out what's going on, because we have a problem. Right, so our two issues well, one of our issues is here. Okay, so we'll add a breakpoint. The first time we're setting the visibility, which is fine, we know that works, but the second time it's not doing it, so I'm expecting it to not hit that. And if it does, we'll see why it's not actually doing what we want it to do. So what was it you said you were studying, Shay? Right, so there is our first hit, okay? And we're going to be setting visibility. Oops. And it did it again. Right, we're going to resume that. Okay. And this may actually take 20 seconds. There it goes. Right. Right, so we got hit again. Okay. And this should now all be good. But it didn't do that. Okay. So it's something to do with the fade blood. So we're setting the render opacity. I know what it is. It's this line here. And also this line here. Right, at least I think it's that. We'll soon find out. Now, if we go back to our take damage, we'll move that to the very top so it doesn't kind of interfere. Press play. I should really just jump into level 1 so that we don't need to wait and loading up, but we'll find out anyway. Right. So we take our hit, we move back, 10 seconds should disappear. It's all programming is, problem solving. Then, hi Mr. Spock, how are you? And our blood did not come back. It has to be said. Well, that is all rather interesting. Yeah, it looks great, but it's not working. I'm missing something stupid. Right, I'm going to say there's one of them set opacity and there's one of them set Render opacity. Now I'm just wondering if it's this. If this works, then it's wrong in the other one. Right, now the question is, if I go back here, that's the render opacity of the widget. Oh, I'm an idiot, I've done it here as well. See how it's got the two? So the widget was actually getting rendered at 0 as well. Right, so this should actually now work. Famous last words, of course. Right, you've missed the part that we started out on, Mr. Spock, by the way. Which was the bit that you'll be interested in. So I'll show you that in a minute, once this actually works. Right, so we'll check this out. Right. Right, so we got doofed. And then we disappear. And then we'll get doofed again. There we go. There we go. Cool. Right, you guys here can tell me how you want me to beautify this up some more. The end level what am I doing? Mucking it up, that's what I'm doing. Right, we'll get rid of that. We'll press play. Right, so you guys should have sound. I don't usually have the sound on for you guys. I don't usually put the desktop sound on, but there we go. How's about that? Right, so what I'm thinking of now is, because I'm never happy, right, we want main menu, right, what I'm thinking is that we have this again. Right, we have this again, and like we have the interesting. Right, either way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, right, and then we're going to paste it. No. Yeah, undo that. Don't be doing that shit. Right. So what do you think? Do you think I put it up there or over here and then bring this and bring this like, oops, undo that. Right, I didn't actually do that, but it's okay. What I was thinking was bring this here and then like move this down to here, or make this smaller and leave this, or move it down a bit, or have this in the center. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. 0, 0, then 0.5, 0.5, then we're going to anchor it in the center. Then we'll move it up. Right. Then we'll get this vertical box. Right, and we'll wrap it in a canvas panel. And this canvas panel, 0 padding. Well, you can trust my judgment all you want, but right, we're going to undo that. We're going to undo that. Right. And we're going to wrap that canvas panel with another canvas panel. And then well, it's either with this or without. Right, I'm kind of not happy. Right, I'm kind of not happy with that, right? Right, so what we could do is, and this is where it comes in handy to have a nice big screen. Is we're going to move this into the vertical box. Where'd that go? That decided to be a bit weird about that, didn't it? What the heck? Why is it saying trash, trash, trash? I know why it's doing that. It's because I'm an idiot. See that part where I changed it? Right? Ah, unbelievable. Right, whatever. Delete that. Delete that. Right, that's fine. Okay. Oh, we're getting a fair... We're getting a fair share of bots today, I must say. It's the third one. Right, do that. Okay. Right, is this going to... Is this going to be a dick? Yep, I think it's going to be a dick. Right, I'm quite afraid of this now. I kind of don't know how to fix this. And when one doesn't know how to fix something, one closes Unreal Engine and tries again. Right, that was all because I tried to drag the Chronicles header into the border because the border can only have one child, right? And that's basically where it lost its shit. Right? And the whole thing has just went to shit. But it's okay, because we now get to once again see me trying to recover things. And that's not what we want. We want auto saves, game, HUD, widgets, and that's not what we want either. appears this is the one we want. Except that's not even the one we want. Well, this isn't good. So copy that. Go to here, content, HUD, widgets, in-game, and paste. Right. And if we go to here, right, this is one that's okay. So we'll rename this. Now, the reason this all goes pear-shaped and you've got to watch what you're doing is because all the other stuff is referencing this. Okay? All the other stuff is referencing this one here. But the correct setup is in this one here, right? So we can copy that. We delete that, we select that and paste. Okay. And now we go to the graph. We copy that. We go to here. We go to the graph here, and that's all right. Right, because all of this stuff is now kind of back. Now, these are all going to error, but that's okay. This goes in here. You can save that. Well, not really, but so we want pickups collected, so that goes in there. Then we want lives. That one goes in there. Well, I've had my Kit Kat. I had it just before I went live. And that should be us. Right? And in theory now, this should all be back working again. Oh, I'm going to stop that for now. I'm going to minimize that. And we're going to rename this. going to say for delete. Right, and when we're happy we can just delete this out. Right, but we want to go to map 2 again. Well, you're lucky fall for my wife a Kit Kat, my dark chocolate Kit Kats. In fact, she only gets offered one if it's not the last one. If it's the last one, she's lucky if she's getting 1 bar of it. And it's the four stick Kit Kats. Right, we're back working. Okay, so that's all well. Yeah, dark chocolate. It's the business. It's because I'm old, right? I don't particularly... I've kind of went off sweet things. Right, so what we need here is we need to go back to our HUD widgets and our main menu. We go back to here and we get this text, we copy that, then we go back to our level complete, to the designer, I like the chunky Kit Kats as well, the normal ones, but at the moment my preference for Kit Kats happens to be dark chocolate, right? They've got another one, they've actually got white chocolate ones. They've got the one, well, the shop that I go to has got normal ones, white chocolate and dark chocolate. I've not tried the white chocolate because that doesn't sound very good. Right, so we should now be able to do that. Right, which kind of... No, I quite... Well, I liked Milky Bars. I mean, who didn't like a Milky Bar? Come on. Hey, chocolate is sugar with a bit of cocoa. Right, let's see how this looks. Right. Okay. Milky Bars are a British thing. You'll notice there, guys, that was doing some weird shit. Right, we're going to delete this. But first, we're going to check our pawn to make sure which one it's actually bringing up at the end of the level. Of course I remember. Milky Bar Kid. He was called the Milky Bar Kid for obvious reasons. He was the Milky Bar Kid. Right, so we create the portal. We do that. We do that. We do that. Ah, okay. No, it's not that. It's finished level. Right, get myself confused here. It's actually over here. Yep, it's level complete. Yeah, the Hershey's white chocolate is quite, you know, you get the white chocolate. Well, Shay, imagine Hershey's white chocolate, or, okay, rephrase that. Think of Hershey's cookies and cream, right? But take out the cookies, and that's a close approximation to a Milky Bar. Okay, but it's about, because it was a little kids thing, it was like about half the size. So it sounds really sickening, but because there wasn't as much yet, it wasn't quite as sickening, right? Yeah, but they're shit. They're shit in comparison to British chocolate. Even the white chocolate and the British white chocolate's better. So imagine a much better Hershey's cookies and cream. Right, so yeah, so that's working, I believe. I think I'm going to have to do another restart to fix up that weird double thingy error, where it was doing the double thump. Yeah, kind of brown sugar's a bit of a pointless exercise, isn't it, really? I'm still not convinced. Right. I mean, that's okay. Right, guys, what do you think? It's missing, it's cluttered and it's missing something. That something might be a different colour. I'm not 100% convinced on this one. I maybe need to have a think about it to make it better. I mean, it's working fine. Not convinced here, guys. Not convinced at all. I'm kind of more thinking of some sort of a material on that, on the Chronicles thing. Some sort of a change in material. Or just something to give it a bit more life, I think. I think it's missing a bit of life. Yeah, I mean, that's what I intended to do at the start when everything screwed up, was to have like this over here and then maybe this down here. But maybe the idea here, a better idea would be to create a score level. And then do it with the character again. You know, like the main menu level. Right, or have some sort of material that fades in and out or something. Are you sure it's not a bullet? And the other idea would be to have, instead of the crosses, to have stakes. Right? So, in theory, it would be this. Well, you see, you aren't understanding what's going on here. Right? Because the only reason it looks like this is actually because of this border, right? Watch what happens when I make this border transparent. Right? Now you might think, well, nothing much happened. Yeah, nothing much did happen until I do this and press play. Because remember, I'm still in the level, right? So that's what it actually looks like. Okay, I'm using the border as basically a blackout curtain. Okay. Now, in theory, if I set that back, no, it doesn't look great because so the problem is that you don't know what is going to be behind this, right? Now, I'll show you what I was going to do. What I was going to do is I was going to wrap this with a canvas panel, right? And then the canvas panel, I was going to give it an offset of, let's say, 200 by 100, right? Okay, and then the border size to content, or in fact, you would just have it as full, right? And this would actually make more sense, right? This is what I immediately thought when I did this, okay, or what I did earlier, right? So it would actually look like this. Okay, but then you would have to kill the minimap, right? I'm kind of I'm kind of beginning to lean towards a new level that's set up similar to the main menu, right? And we just pass the score through in the game instance. Right? If anybody out there has any other bright ideas, but I am definitely kinda moving towards the idea of another level. Which would keep things consistent, to be fair. Right, okay. we're going on a different perspective here. We're going to add, going to go to maps, right? We're going to go to main menu, and we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to call it level end. Right. But now what we'll do is we'll basically kind of reverse everything round about. Right? So obviously instead of any of this, right, we're going to have this, right, and what we'll do is we'll maybe make him a bit smaller, or basically pull the camera out a bit. Right, so there's that. Okay, and we need it even further. And further that way. Right, so that's actually going to be okay. And then we move the level end stuff over to here. Right? And with this, we're going to undo. Oops. Yeah, we're kind of screwed there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this back to here. Then we're going to delete that. Now this border is actually going to end up being transparent or not there at all, right? And what we're going to have to do at this point is we're going to have to create another controller, right? Which is fine because it's not actually going to do very much. Right, so we can say main, right? We create a blueprint class, player controller, and this is going to be PC end level, right? And then are we going to need, yeah, we're going to need a game mode for this. Don't really actually. We'll just create one. Or, wait a minute, what we'll do, delete that. In fact, we'll create that. Right, we'll duplicate it. And it's going to be GM and level. And then we don't need the one at the end. Right. And then in here, we just basically change this to PCN level. Compile it. Right. And then in this level, in the world settings, we say this, and then we get the PCN level. Right, and you'll notice now when we press play, there's no thing comes over the top. Right, so basically in here now we can move this about a bit and we can have him doing like cheering or doing what he wants to do, or you know, type of thing. But what we'll do is we'll face the camera in a bit. And then what we'll do is we'll spin this right around. Then we'll spin this one right around. Right. And we'll press play, and that's better, but we still need the camera. I mean, we could do the change the field of view and stuff like that. And even a bit more. And probably actually a tiny bit closer. Yeah, like there. Right guys, well I'm going to call that for this afternoon. I shall be back at 8 PM Central, where we can take a further look at this. I might have actually done some more work on it anyway. We'll check it out. We'll see how it goes. So if you've enjoyed it, the content and stream, hit like and subscribe. Once again, check out the description for links to my Discord. Everyone's welcome to join. And for ways to support the channel, you can join the Patreon, get your name in the game, all that sort of stuff, and also check out my previous game on Steam. Even adding that to your wish list helps out a bit. All links in the description. Thanks you guys for watching. I shall see you later tonight. Bye bye for now.